Welcome to NFL Nexus. Today, we're doing something a little different. We are cracking open a document that, let's be honest, the NFL probably never wanted you to see. This is the leaked player report card for the Indianapolis Colts. And listen, this isn't just some media gossip or fan theory. Nope. This is the raw, unfiltered truth coming straight from the players themselves about what it's really like inside that building day in and day out. We're going to find out what they love, what they can't stand, and, well, the one dangerous secret that might just be threatening to tear this whole team apart. Let's get right into it. So you might be asking, why is this report card such a big deal? Well, because the NFL literally fought tooth and nail to keep this whole thing under wraps. They actually won a legal grievance to stop the players' union from making these reports public. Why? They claimed it could hurt team business. But you know how it is in this day and age? Secrets like this just don't stay secret for very long. They leaked out, and now we have this incredible behind-the-curtain look at every single team. It is the kind of brutal honesty you're just not going to get anywhere else. Okay, so what exactly is in this thing? Think of it like the ultimate employee satisfaction survey, but for athletes who are making millions of dollars. The players themselves, totally anonymously, grade every single part of their job. And I mean everything, from the gym equipment and the food in the cafeteria to how their own families get treated on game day. But maybe most importantly, they grade the bosses, the coaches, the GM, and yep, even the team owner. It is a no-holds-barred assessment of what it's really like to play for the Indianapolis Colts. So here's how we're going to break all this down. First, we're going to look at the big picture, the overall report card. Then we'll dive into the really good news, a foundation of trust that a lot of teams would be jealous of. But then we get to the bad news, and it's a big one. A playing field so bad it's putting careers on the line. We'll also look at some other cracks in the foundation, the financial corner they've backed themselves into, and what this all means for the Colts' future. It's a story with some serious highs and some really serious lows. All right, let's get our first look at these grades. This is the overall report card for the Colts, and you're going to see right away it is a real mixed bag. This is kind of our 30,000-foot view before we zoom in on the details that really tell the story of this franchise right now. Wow. Okay, just take a look at this. It really is a roller coaster of a report card, isn't it? Right at the top, you see those straight A's for the big leadership positions. That is a massive positive, and we're going to get into that. Then in the middle, you just see this sea of B's. You know, they're solid but not spectacular grades for things like the coaching staff, the training room, even the food. It kind of suggests a professional but maybe not an elite day-to-day experience. But then your eyes drift down to the bottom, and you just see it, a C+ for the locker room, and then a D. A flat-out D for the home game field. Overall, this lands the Colts right smack in the middle of the pack, 17th in the league. Yeah, it's a little better than 19th last year, but that D? Man, that's like an anchor just dragging the whole report card down. But before we get into that huge problem, let's focus on the good stuff for a minute. And according to the players, the Colts have a massive bright spot, their leadership. I mean, in a league where coaches and GMs are getting fired all the time, the Colts have built this foundation of trust that is incredibly rare, and it might just be the single biggest asset this organization has going for it. Just look at these grades. An A for ownership, an A for general manager Chris Ballard, an A- for head coach Shane Steichen. You guys, in the cutthroat world of the NFL where a coach can be gone after one bad season, this is almost unheard of. It tells you that the guys in that locker room, the ones actually putting their bodies on the line every Sunday, they believe in the people leading them. They trust the vision. That is such a powerful thing, and it's the bedrock of any team that wants to be successful. But here's what makes that A for ownership even more wild. Just last year, that grade was a B. You know, a solid B, totally respectable, but not an A. So what happened? What caused that big of a jump in just 1 year? Well, it all comes down to a major change in leadership right at the very top of the organization, following the tragic passing of the longtime owner Jim Irsay. The new leader is Carly Irsay-Gordon, and clearly she's doing things a little differently. She's not some owner just watching from a fancy luxury box. No, she's on the ground, she's in the building, and most importantly, she's on the sidelines. She wears a headset during the games, listening in on the play calls, totally immersed in what's happening. That kind of hands-on, visible leadership has obviously made a huge impression on the players. This A isn't just a letter grade. It's a massive stamp of approval on her vision and her commitment to this team. Okay, but for all of that goodwill, for all that trust that the leadership has built up, this report card exposes a ticking time bomb. It's an issue that directly threatens the players' health, their careers, and, let's be real, the team's chances of winning. And it is the one grade that just casts a huge shadow over all those A's.
A D. That's the grade the players gave their own home field at Lucas Oil Stadium. Just let that sink in for a second. This isn't like a bad grade for the food, this is a cry for help. It means that players believe the actual ground they play on, the surface where they make their living, is a hazard. Out of all 32 stadiums in the NFL, the Colts' own players ranked their field in the bottom 10, one of the most dangerous in the entire league. And that is a massive, massive problem.
And listen, the report itself is scathing. It does not pull any punches. It calls this a significant failure and says that a D in this area is simply not acceptable. Think about what that really means. The most basic fundamental job of any pro sports team is to give its players a safe place to work, and according to the men who actually play on it, the Colts are failing that basic duty. It's a complete contradiction to all that trust they've worked so hard to build everywhere else.
So what is the deal with this turf? Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. The Colts actually ripped up their old turf back in 2024. That old stuff was slit film turf, which players pretty much universally hate. They say it's like playing on concrete. So they replaced it with this brand new monofilament surface with this new high-tech organic filler made of coconut husks and cork. Sounds fancy, right? The problem is a lot of players feel this new turf is just as bad, maybe even worse. They say it feels sticky, that their cleats get caught in it, which leads to a higher risk of those awful non-contact knee and ankle injuries. It's kind of like a car company releasing a new model with all these new safety features, but the drivers still feel like the brakes are going to fail. The tech might be new, but the player's verdict is in. It's not safe.
And look, this isn't just about how players feel. This is about wins and losses. The report directly links bad turf to a higher risk of injuries. And if you look back at the Colts last season, well, the story tells itself. They started the year 8-2, looking like a real Super Bowl contender. They were on fire. And then the injuries hit. One key player after another went down. The team completely fell apart, losing their last 7 games straight to finish 8-9 and miss the playoffs. Now, you can't blame every single injury on the turf, of course not, but the players themselves believe it's a huge factor in the risk they take every week. It really makes you wonder, what could that team have done if they had a field they actually trusted? So the field is obviously the biggest red flag on this whole report card, but it's not the only one. The survey points to a couple other cracks in the foundation, and it suggests that maybe this turf problem is part of a bigger issue with the team's physical facilities.
The other grade that really stands out is a C+ for the locker room. And what's really concerning about this one is that it's down from a B just last year. Now, you might hear C+ and think, well, that's not terrible, but in the arms race of NFL facilities, it is a clear sign of a problem. The locker room is the heart and soul of the team. It's a player's office, it's their sanctuary. A C+ grade, especially one that's trending down, suggests the facilities are probably outdated, maybe too small, or just not up to the modern standard that players see when they go to other cities. When you put an aging locker room together with a dangerous field, you start to see a pattern. The Colts' physical infrastructure is falling behind, and the players are definitely noticing.
So the problems are pretty clear, right? You've got a failing grade on your field and a C+ for your locker room. But what about fixing it? Well, that's where things get really complicated. Because in the NFL, every single decision comes down to one thing: money. And the Colts are staring down some very, very tough financial choices. This number right here is the key to the Colts' entire offseason. $33.4 million in projected cap space. That's their budget. And while that sounds like a ton of money to you and me, in the world of the NFL, it's really not. Think of it like this. You've got $100 in your wallet, but you've already got $90 in bills you absolutely have to pay. That money is already spoken for, and believe me, it is going to disappear in a hurry. And here's where all that money is going. The Colts have bet big, really big, on their star players. Just look at these 4 guys. They're eating up a massive chunk of the team's entire budget. It's a classic win-now strategy, right? Pay top dollar for your elite talent and hope they carry you to a championship. But here's the catch. When you spend all your money on the stars, there's not much left over for the basics. And as that D fork for the field and a C+ for the locker room show, the basics are starting to crumble. Let's use Michael Pittman Jr. as the perfect example of this financial tightrope they're walking. They simply cannot afford his massive $29 million contract as it is right now. So they have a choice. They could cut him, which saves a ton of money but loses them one of their best players. Or, the more likely option, they can sign him to a new long-term deal that's really complicated. It'll lower his cost for this year, but it locks them into paying him even more money for years to come. It's a high-stakes gamble, and it's the kind of financial gymnastics they have to do just to keep the current team together. And Pittman is just the start. He's just the tip of the iceberg. They've got a whole list of other key players who are going to need new contracts. Young guys like Alec Pierce are due for big extensions, and there are huge decisions to be made at quarterback. By the time they're done paying their own guys and signing their new draft class, that $33.4 million is going to be pretty much gone. And that means no money for big-name free agents. And maybe more importantly, it means there's probably no money budgeted for a huge project like ripping up the entire field and starting over.
So, this is the state of the Indianapolis Colts when you put it all together. You've got A-grade leadership that has the complete trust of the locker room. You've got a D-grade playing field that those same players think is a safety hazard. And you've got a C-grade bank account that's stretched to its absolute limit. It's a franchise at a true crossroads, with two very different paths in front of it. This right here is the core dilemma for every single player on that team. Do you trust the leaders who are telling you they're building a championship team? Or do you trust your own body when it tells you that that field is a death trap every time you step on it? It's a fundamental conflict between the faith they have in the front office and the fear they have for their own careers. And right now, those two powerful forces are pulling the entire Colts organization in completely opposite directions. So the question this whole report card forces us to ask is simple. Where does the money go? Do the Colts double down on their win-now strategy, spend every last dollar on player contracts, and just hope they can out-talent their problems? Or do they make a huge, long-term investment in their own house, fix the field, and prove to the players that their safety is the #1 priority? The choice they make is going to tell us everything about the future of this team. What do you think they should do? Drop a comment below and let us know. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive, please subscribe to NFL Nexus and hit that like button. It is truly the best way to support the channel. And to help support the channel, please check out our brand new NFL-themed coloring books. They are perfect for fans of all ages, for your kids, your grandkids, or even for you if you're just looking to unwind. You can find the link right in the description below, or just scan the QR code that's on your screen right now. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time on NFL Nexus.